Welcome to Yoga Within's YouTube channel. My name is Candace and this is Realignment Yoga. We're going to need a couple of things today, so a strap or a belt, something that you can put around your legs, tie and press against, and then some foam blocks, something to squeeze. So foam blocks would work, foam yoga blocks, or even a paper towel would work to squeeze in between your knees. So let's start in static back, as we do every time. Coming down into the static back position, making sure that your hips are bent at 90 degrees and your knees are bent at 90 degrees. That your feet are in line with your knees and your knees are in line with your hip bones. So there's a little bit of space in between your feet, and so everything tries to be in alignment from hip bone down to feet. Upper body is relaxed. Arms are out to the side with palms facing up if that feels all right for you. If it doesn't, then they can just rest softly on your belly. And just lying here and relaxing. So making sure that you're breathing, trying to get the breath from being up higher in the chest to sort of mid-abdomen breath. Noticing how everything feels today. Noticing if things feel even on the ground or if something feels higher or different from side to side. Just notice. Just focus on your breath, trying to let everything relax and release to the floor. So we're using the floor in this position to try to provide a straight surface that our body then can settle against, and trying to get things in alignment in the upper body. We're allowing our hip flexors to relax with our legs up on our block or our chair. So just breathing, allowing things to settle, making sure that your feet feel relaxed and your legs are relaxed. So it doesn't feel like your legs are trying to grip your chair or your ottoman. Your stomach is relaxed. Your chest is relaxed. Allowing your arms and hands to feel relaxed. Making sure that your shoulders are relaxing down and away from your ears. Allowing your jaw to relax. So you want to keep your lips closed, but let your teeth come apart just a little bit, and then if the tongue is up at the top of the roof of the mouth, you're going to just let that relax down. Letting your eyes relax. And just feel things settle. So for most of us, we're trying to let that low back release down to the floor. If you're a person though where that low back is flat to the floor when you start this exercise, then it might feel good to wrap up a towel and place it underneath that low back. And you might feel like you need to wrap up a small towel and place it underneath your neck to give that support. So this is a position that we want to feel relaxation in. We don't want to feel any pain in this. We just want to let everything settle. Just lying here, focusing on your breath. Just keep breathing, staying in this position. Today we're going to focus on our hips and doing some exercises to help perhaps release hips, get them into moving how they should move. So for many of us over these past couple of months, we've perhaps spent a little too much time sitting, and so maybe the hips need a little bit of releasing, or perhaps we've been out in the garden and the hips feel stiff. So we're going to try to do some things today to hopefully help that. Take one more breath here. And then just pause for a moment, check in with your body. Notice, did your low back manage to settle a little bit towards the floor? And then how does your body feel against that floor as far as being even? Bring your legs up off your blocks. You're going to grab your blocks or your paper towel. You're going to place them in between your knees. So you want to make sure that your feet are straight, and so it's going to feel perhaps like they're a little bit pigeon-toed. And then so your knees are in line with your hip bones, and your feet are aligned up with your knees. So we're just going to squeeze and release the blocks. So you're just pressing into the blocks and then releasing. So squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release. You want to make sure when you're doing this that you're only using the muscles that run down the insides of the legs. So try not to let the bum work on this. Try not to let the stomach work on this. We're just working these muscles that run down the insides of the legs. So we're trying to wake these muscles up, trying to let them know what their job is, so that hopefully when we go to do other activities such as walking, that these muscles kick in like they're supposed to. Because for some of us, these muscles are a little lazy. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. The blocks can come down to your side. You're going to stay in this bent knee position with your feet, outsides of your feet feel straighter, a little bit pigeon-toed. Everything is in line. And now we're going to squeeze those bum cheeks together. So it's a squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax, squeeze, relax. So you want to notice as you're squeezing and relaxing, does it feel like those bum cheeks fire at the same time? So we would like those glute muscles to fire when we ask them to, and we would like them to fire evenly. So we're asking both of them to fire at the same time. And then you also want to notice whether it feels like both bum cheeks are equally as strong in that firing. Again, you don't want to use your stomach on this, and you don't want to use your legs. You just want to use those bum muscles. And so those pelvic floor muscles, they might feel like they want to get involved in this exercise. We're going to try to leave them out of that as well. That sometimes is a little bit hard. Make sure you're breathing when you're doing this. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now bring your foot soles together. Let your knees drop out to the side. This is coming into, we call this frog. And you're just trying to let everything relax. So you want to notice, does it feel like my legs are even, or my knees are even from the floor? Maybe one knee is higher. Just want to notice that. You want to notice whether or not your hips really like this. So if perhaps they really don't like this, then maybe you take one of your blocks or your towel and just sort of jam it underneath to give a little bit of support to that. Just noticing how this feels. So this position, we try to bring the pelvis back to a neutral position in this. As soon as we do this position, you should feel a little bit of arch happening in your low back, and that's perfect. So staying in this frog position with your legs in this butterfly pose, take your hands, bring them up over your chest, clasp your hands together, and now we're taking those arms back behind us. So you want to keep your elbows perfectly straight on this, and you're only taking those arms into whatever range of motion that they have. So arms straight, and then you're trying not to let you have a whole bunch of motion in those bottom ribs. So those bottom ribs try to stay touching the floor beneath you and not have a big arch in your back as your hands go back behind you. Let's do 3 more. Make sure you're breathing. 2 more. Last one. Good. Those legs can come back up. And now you're going to grab your strap or your belt. You're going to place that strap around your legs. And again, you want your feet to feel like they're straight, so they should feel a little bit pigeon-toed. And now we're pressing into that strap. So pressing with our legs into the strap. So it's press, release, press, release, press, release. So now we only want the muscles that run down the outsides of the legs to be working. We don't want the bum to be working, and we don't want the stomach to be working. So you want to notice when you do this, you know, if the squeezing of the blocks, if that felt really good and easy, and this feels not so great and perhaps even harder, then it might speak to a little bit of imbalance between the muscles that run down the insides of the legs and the muscles that run down the outsides of the legs. So we would like to correct that imbalance and have equally strong adductors and abductors. Make sure you're breathing, squeezing and releasing. Try not to use your stomach, try not to use your bum. You're just using your legs. Do 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Strap comes off your legs. Coming back into that bent knee position. Outsides of the feet are straight. Now we're going to squeeze those butt cheeks together again. So squeezing and releasing. Try not to use your stomach muscles. Try not to use your leg muscles. You're just squeezing and releasing those glute muscles. Again, noticing, but there may be now, they're a little bit smarter, and now they're firing closer to the same, at the same time, and maybe they're even a little bit stronger on both sides so that it feels more even when you're doing that. And you're breathing. Let's do 5 more of this. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Foot cells together, knees drop out to the side again, coming into that frog position. So it's the second time we've done this. Maybe your hips are a little bit happier about this. If this position really bothers your hips, then perhaps you want to ask yourself why you're doing that. So it's really about, you know, finding a position. We want to challenge our bodies on these things, and perhaps sometimes they might not be comfortable, but we don't want to take them into pain. So now take those hands, you're going to clasp them again in front of your chest, and you're going to move the fingers 1 finger down. So now the clasp might feel a little bit awkward. Take those hands back behind you again. Try not to let those bottom ribs pop up as the arms go behind you. Your elbows are straight. Make sure you're breathing. You might even try to match your breath with your arms. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Good. Bring those legs up. Now take those legs, they're going to be fairly close together, just drop them from side to side. And then move them a little bit wider, maybe hip or mat width apart. Drop them again. Notice what you think feels better. Do 1 more each way. Coming back to center. And then you're going to come up onto your hands and knees. So you're just going to stack your hands underneath your shoulders. Your knees are underneath your hips. You're going to keep that knee bent. You're going to flex your foot, coming into hip circles. So circles, you want those circles to be as big as you can without a lot of movement happening in that other hip. Make sure you're breathing. Change directions now, go the other way. And then take that foot, take it back. So the toe is down onto the floor. You're going to push into your heel, get a little bit of a calf stretch. And then you're going to walk that right foot over towards the left side. And then you're going to turn your head to look over that left shoulder. This becomes a stretch down the right side. If you've had a hip replacement and you know that you're not supposed to cross the midline, then that foot would not cross the midline. It would just stay here, and you would just look over that right shoulder, or sorry, the left shoulder. Come back to center. And now we're going to take the left leg and we're going to take that in a circle. So again, as big a circle as you can without letting that right hip move. And then change directions other way. Bring that foot down, take the foot back, toes tucked, you're going to push into that heel, getting a little bit of stretch into the calf muscle, and then you're going to walk that right foot over to, or that left foot over to the right side. You're going to look over your right shoulder. It's a stretch now down the left side. Make sure you're breathing. You're going to bring everything back to center. And then you're going to come up to a high nail. So if it bothers your knees, you can place a block or your blanket, your towels underneath your knees to help that. You're going to step that right foot forward. Hands are here. You're just going to go a little bit back and forth. So you want to make sure that there's a little bit of weight happening on that left top of the foot to take the pressure off the knee. And then just come here and hold. So we're looking for a stretch happening down this left hip flexor. Make sure you're breathing. Taking one more breath here. You're going to come back, switching over to the other side. So left foot steps forward. Hands are here, making sure you've got some weight on the top of that right foot. Little back and forth. Then you're going to take it, you're going to come forward and hold. Right, again, if this is causing you pain, then modify it. So don't take yourself into any type of pain. You should feel this, a nice stretch happening down the front of that right hip. Taking one more breath here. Coming back. Now grab your chair or your ottoman. Arms are going to come on here. And you're going to take you're going to come forward and you're going to take your bum back so that it feels like you've got right angles at your hips and your knees, coming into this bit of a shoulder stretch. So this is called a counter stretch, kneeling counter stretch. Head can hang forward. So you notice I've got my elbows on my chair or my block. You can also do it from here, but if this bothers your shoulders or your elbows, then you're wanting to come back and putting your elbows on here. So you're just breathing, holding this. Take one more breath. Coming up. And then however you can, come to standing. So you're going to come into a wide-legged position. So in this wide-legged position, you want to make sure that the outsides of your feet are straight. So again, it feels a little bit like you're pigeon-toed. You're going to fold forward at the hip here. And you're going to come forward into a forward fold. So you do not have to touch the ground with your hands. Hands can be on your thighs here, or you can come all the way down. The thighs are tight on this, and you're breathing. So head can drop if that feels better for you. Shouldn't have any strain in your neck. And you're breathing. There should be a natural arch in that low back, so don't let that low back round. And you're only going down as far as you can go. So staying in this forward fold position, you're going to walk your hands over to the left and breathe. You should feel a nice stretch happening in the backs of the legs. And then you're going to walk those hands over to the other side, the right side, and hold that. And then you're going to come back to center and hold that. Take one more breath here. Come all the way up, legs together, and then just shake it out. A little bit of balance. Weight goes on to the left foot, bring your knee up. So you're going to we're going to go into those circles again. So as big as circles as you can with the hips. While we're trying to keep your balance, change directions. Make sure you're breathing. One more. Good, then take it over to the other side. So weight's on the right foot now, that left leg comes up. Find your balance. Circles. Try to take the hip through that whole range of motion that it has. And then go the other way. One more. Good job. Take it down. Shake it out. However you can, come down onto your stomach. You're lying on your stomach, hand over hand, forehead goes on your hands. And you're going to take your left leg and bring it up into a tree position. So tree pose is if you're standing in a yoga class. So your left knee is bent and that left foot is sort of touching that right thigh. So you look like a number 4 position. We're looking for a stretch into the front of the hips. And so now you're going to squeeze those bum cheeks together. You're going to try to press your hips towards the floor, and maybe they both touch the floor. Maybe they don't. Mine don't. But you're breathing. So you should feel a nice stretch into the inner thigh on that left side. Take one more breath here. Come out of that, switch over to the other side. So that right foot comes up into that tree position. So the knee is bent. That right foot is against the left thigh. Resting the forehead on your hands. And now you're trying to press your hips into the floor so your bum muscles are contracted, trying to press those hips towards the floor to get it even. You really want to notice in this the difference between side to side. One hip quite a bit higher than the other. And you're breathing. Taking one more breath here. And then straightening out that leg. Toes are together, heels drop out to the side. So your pigeon toe in this. Arms come underneath the shoulders. And then the thumbs point up to the ceiling. So this is Cobra. The bum tries to stay relaxed on this. So the legs, bum are relaxed. And you're putting a nice arch into that low back. And you're breathing. Thumbs pointing up to the ceiling. If that feels all right, then hands can maybe go a little bit wider than the elbows. And those thumbs can point out even more. And you're breathing. If this bothers your low back, then elbows can come forward a little bit to reduce the amount of arch in the low back. Breathing. Again, we're giving some stretch to the front side of the body. And we've got a little bit of back bend going on. Taking one more breath here. Allow yourself to come all the way down. Hand over hand, forehead on your hands. At pigeon toe position, letting everything relax should help release low back. If it feels like it's not releasing, then you're going to bend your knees. You're going to wipe them back and forth. Bring both feet down to the ground. You're going to take that right foot. You're going to bring that right foot as close as you can to your bum. So this should feel like a quad stretch. So the bum muscles are pushing the hips down towards the floor. If you can reach around with your right hand and grab your ankle, you do that. And if you can't reach it, you could use a strap, or you just stay there and you try to keep bringing that heel as close as you can to your bum. So you should feel a nice stretch on the front of that right thigh. Take one more breath here. that right foot comes down, switching over to the left foot. So that left heel comes as close to your bum as you can. If you can reach around and grab it or use a strap, you do. If not, it just stays there. Feeling a stretch now into the left thigh. Taking one more breath here, coming all the way down, rolling over onto your back, and we're going to go to the wall. You're going to place your feet on the wall, and you want to be far enough away from the wall that your hips make 90 degrees and your knees make 90 degrees. So just finding a comfortable position. Palms can face up on this, and you've got a natural arch happening in that low back. You're going to take your right ankle and place it on top of your left knee. Now, if your bum really has to lift for that to happen, you're going to move a little bit further away from the wall until you can comfortably get that right ankle on the left knee. So we're just holding this here. That right knee gently tries to push away from you. Breathing. So you should feel a stretch down sort of that right side bum, side hip. Breathing. Making sure that there's an arch in the low back, so don't let that low back flatten to the floor. Take one more breath here. Bring that foot sole to the right foot to the wall. And now you're going to take that left ankle, place it on top of the right knee. Again, if that left hip has to lift a whole bunch to get it there, then you're going to move your bum further back from the wall. So once you're in position there, then you're gently pressing that left knee away from you without using your hands. There's an arch in your low back, and you're breathing. This hopefully feels like a little bit of work, not just a stretch. Take one more breath here. Right foot sole can go to the wall. And then you're going to turn around and you're going to sit with the feet against the wall. Or sorry, bums against the wall. So bums right against the wall. Feet are flexed. The thighs are working. The toes, you're trying to spread the toes. And you are breathing. So the thighs are working hard enough that the heels might even lift a little bit from off the floor, and that's fine. So there's lots of work going on in the legs here. Hands can just be down by the side or just relaxing on your legs, and you are breathing. So you've got an arch happening in the low back. You're getting a nice stretch down the back of the legs. Your thighs are working. Your feet are flexing. They're working. Toes try to spread. And you are just breathing here. So this provides a great stretch down the back side of the body. The hamstrings and the calves all getting a great stretch here. This is not a bad way to eat breakfast in the morning. Making sure you're breathing. Take one more breath here. And now that the bum is really close to the wall, you're going to come so that the bum is right against the wall. You're going to lie down, and then you're going to take legs up the wall. So now that same position that we've done, just sitting against the wall. Now we've sort of turned ourselves upside down, and now it's legs up the wall. So in this one, again, the feet are flexed. Try to look at your feet. Notice if they point out like duck feet. Try to get them so that they look more like straight feet, outsides of the feet straight. Again, it might feel a little bit like you're pigeon-toed and you are breathing. Again, same thing, we're trying to get a nice stretch happening down the back of the body. So the hamstrings, the calves, all getting a nice stretch here. You've got a little bit of an arch happening in the low back. So for right now, these legs are working, and this is a working position. Take one more breath here, and then you're going to let this more relax. So now this is legs up the wall in a relaxing position. This might be where you stay for Shavasana. So for many people, this is a lovely relaxing position. If this is not a relaxation position for you, then find a position that it is. And if you like the static back that we did at the beginning of the class, then you can go back to that. Otherwise, you're just going to lie here and relax, palms facing up, opens up the shoulders. Make sure those shoulders aren't creeping up towards your ears. And you are just breathing. Closing your eyes if that feels good for you. Noticing your breath. Trying to breathe from the midsection of the body, not from the upper chest. If you like, you are welcome to stay here for as long as it feels comfortable for you in this relaxation position. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.